I'm going to be breaking down the new ad formula that's yet to really take a hold on social media and SMMA that is scientifically proven to convert at 8.8x more effectively than ads that do not use this formula. With that being said, let's dive into the video. Have you ever made like a really well thought argument for a jury where you are talking to them about how you have all the facts, you have all the evidence, this is the best product or service the world has ever seen, only to not have that person buy? Worse enough, you have clients that did buy for them to tell you, yeah, you know, you're actually better than competitor XYZ. But competitor XYZ was doing a better job at carving out more market share. In my first agency, this would haunt me for years. It would happen to me constantly. I'd get fucking pissed off. I'd think that, you know, if I appealed to people's logic, I was serving them, and that, no, this is actually helping them make logical, well-informed decisions versus appealing to their emotions. Like, think, for example, the clickbaity type of direct response type of approach. You know, I would see these types of direct response ads and think, gross. And I'd get offended because I think that it's insulting to my intelligence. But at the root here was my own ignorance. It's because of the reptilian brain. The reptilian brain works in an automatic, non-conscious way in addition to the regulatory reproductive systems like sleep and wakefulness. Like, imagine if you had to consciously think about sleeping, you had to manage every little system in your body consciously. Like, that would be a total nightmare. The reptilian brain's main job is to keep us alive. It works on instincts, it doesn't think, and it's just responsible for learning that can be done without thinking. Now, the mammalian brain is the generator of emotions and processes that occur unknowingly as well. We don't need to necessarily get that deep into it, but what's worth knowing is that consciousness enables us to make corrections. So, for example, if we make a mistake or unconsciously doing something, we can kind of snap out of it, regain consciousness, regain presence, and being able to make a conscious, well-informed choice. An example of this happening, right, is you walk by a homeless person, ask them for money, and ignore them. This is the reptilian brain in action. Or if you see an ad on Facebook and you just scroll past it without thinking about it, it's because the reptilian brain is, as per this graphic, is like the crisis survival brain. Everything passes through this filter before it makes a decision. Your conscious brain is more thinking about like what, etc. Everything filters through the reptilian brain and then the mammalian brain, which is the emotional brain, for you to make decisions based on how it is that you feel. Now, it's interesting, in studies with people, if this part of their brain is damaged, they actually can't make decisions. So what does this mean? Well, it means that the process of our brain to make decisions is largely unconscious or emotionally driven. So if we are constantly appearing to the what or the conscious brain, it requires a lot more energy or calories or brain power to make those conscious choices because it's a largely unconscious process. How does this relate to advertising? Well, I'm going to get to that, and I'm going to be breaking down the exact ad formula for us to be able to break down why this process matters and how to bypass it in a way that gets people to submit a lead form and actually want to buy the product or service so the messaging can appeal to them. The first part of this process is the research. Now that we've established the principles of the reptilian brain, the next step for us is to understand from the perspective or the worldview of our client. Have you ever marketed something and nobody wanted to buy it because you kept getting undercut on price, or people kept complaining about how many emails and phone calls they'd be getting from you and your competitors? This research process is going to be how you can cut through that noise. So here's one that we had done for one of our customers, which was a staffing agency. So we had broken down the upper end of the market, middle of the market, upper end of the SMB market, and then the lower rung of the small, medium-sized business market. Now, we also had done a deep dive competitive analysis to say, hey, here are the competitors in greater detail, breaking down their services and everything that they offer for us to be able to get a good idea of what it is that each of these companies do. What does this research process consist of? Like, why does this matter? Well, the research process needs to establish two key components of understanding. Is number one is who is the client and the customer. The first piece is to understand what influencers do they follow? What are the 3 most viral clips from said influencers? What type of content do they consume? What's kind of the tone or feel of that content? How well served is that vertical or segment? How accessible are they? And then how sophisticated or jaded are they by the industry? This could be its whole other video, determining the level of sophistication of a market. And I've talked about this a lot in terms of stages of awareness, but sophistication is defined as how knowledgeable is the market on the state of best practice. Now, if they're very sophisticated, then it's going to be harder for you to sell them because you're going to need to prove that you are in fact more sophisticated and are able to execute at a higher level than they are on themselves or than the other competitors in that market. Which brings me to, who are the competitors? What offers are they marketing? How are they marketing? How are they priced? And then how are they pricing their service? So competitor intelligence is useful to know what are the angles that the competitors are using based on what angles are proven, what type of messaging is working, and how their offers are packaged. I mean, the easiest way that we go about doing this is looking at the ads manager inside of Meta and just looking at what types of ads are they running. I can tell looking at this that whatever is running in August is proven messaging because it's been working for a month and a half now. These offers are working. Farther back that you can go, the more proven a given message is. Now, the other piece of understanding, looking at the competitors, is what's the level of service being offered? Is there a do-it-yourself? Is there a done with you, done for you? What are these levels of service that are being offered in the market? Because the market is going to want different levels of service depending on who it is. If you watch the case study about how we turned $5K of spend into $144K of revenue, watch that because this is relevant. Part of the reason why that succeeded is because we are going to look at each segment of the market to see where it is that they're competing for eyeballs. Each of these represents a different marketing channel. For example, this could be Meta, this could be email, this could be YouTube, etc. Each of these, there's going to be a certain portion of the market represented by these smaller bubbles that's captured by existing players and existing competitors. The best channels perform when there is a gap in the market. For example, here, like there's a pocket of this market that's underserved under channel C, under the done with you level of service, etc. A lot of people think of these as just like one big bubble, but in reality, you can segment the market share by channel because we are competing for the attention of those eyeballs, which is why some people like Grant Cardone say that we are now in the attention economy more than anything. If supply of services is greater than the existing demand on any one of those channels, then the market or service providers are going to face downward pricing pressure because of supply and demand. Now, again, hopefully I don't need to explain supply and demand. It's reflected in higher CPMs because there's limited supply of ad placements on the given channel. Or in the instance of cold email, what that means is nobody's answering your emails or complaining that they get thousands of emails a day from offers that are exactly the same as yours. Which brings me to the third component of the research, which is understanding the state of best practice. And the best way to do that is to establish benchmarks or data. The best way to do that is looking at what the average cost per lead is of the industry. What is the average gross margin? What other data points are relevant in our industry to be able to deliver a high quality of service? And in SMMA, it's going to be the average cost per lead, average cost of acquisition. And the more of this data that you have, the more of a competitive advantage that you are going to have over your competitors in the market. Because if you are at the cutting edge of best practice, so for example, like if you can deliver your service the best, the fastest, and the cheapest, then that's going to put you in a unique position in the market. And because you have that data, you're going to be able to better inform your customers, to better educate them for what it is that they could expect and what success should look like, which will also help you with your marketing. Quick little bonus. Data is only helpful relative to other data. So if we know that the average digital marketing lead is $51, and if we're producing leads at $5.50, then we're outperforming the average by 91.3%. It's kind of like a map to understand where you are. So for example, like if you don't have a benchmark, then you can identify on the map where you are. And if you don't have the idea of what best practice is, then you're not going to know where it is that you need to go. Which brings me to point number 3, which is create native ads. This research process is directly informed by the principle that I talked about, the reptilian brain, because by using this ad formula, you are going to be able to bypass and cut through the noise of the rest of the market. And like I said earlier, these ads convert 8.8x better than any other style of ad in the world. For as long as we're selling this to humans, this will remain to be the case. Until we invent an implant that lets talk to dogs or meet aliens, this is going to be the case. If your ad hook rate is less than 25%, this is for you. Or if your CPLs are out of control and spending more than $51 per lead, then this is for you. There are 2 components to native ads. Number 1 is the content that the audience is consuming, and then using that to inform our hooks. If we look at, for example, the influencers to research to replicate the same style and feel for an ad, here would be a great example for e-commerce, whether it's clothing or makeup or whatever, and this lady actually has a makeup brand. Most of her audience is young Colombian women. If we look at the reels of what performs the best, so this post is is pinned, so not a great example. But this one has like 1.5 million. So we can see, okay, this is the hook that performs the best. Obviously, we don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure out why that is. There's a beautiful lady, and it's just her putting on an outfit. Most of her top performing ads seem to be this. Having some type of content that's geared towards this, for example, like some type of travel offer, could work really well for having a style of creative like this. If looking at SMMA, look at Matt Shields, young men, 16 to 25. We want to appeal to that audience. Business model that makes $500K per year. So this type of interview style hook would work really well for targeting this type of audience. And then here's one of the bonuses for you. Everybody loves relevant memes. Memes have made my last agency over $3 million. So if you want access to the 5 viral TikTok memes for the month of October, I'm giving these away for free to everybody who joins our Facebook group. These are edited B-roll with the green screen, so you can just take that and put it on any video that you want, putting those into your video creatives to create TikTok memes. And the reason why we like to research TikTok and the viral content is because of this same principle of native style ads. Whatever is going viral on TikTok, people are seeing on other socials and other feeds. It looks like native organic content. So if you want these viral TikTok memes, join our Facebook group. Everybody that joins between now and the end of November, I'm going to give you 5 of these for free. Then lastly is the relevance of the hook. For every ad that you make, you need to make 5 to 15 hooks. Now, this depends on the budget. For lower budgets, you always want to test a minimum of 5 different hooks. For bigger budgets, if you're spending over $6,000 per month on ads, or even like $3,000 per month on ads, you're going to want to be experimenting with 15 different hooks for each of your ads. If you want the type of hooks, well, I can't give you everything for free. I might make a video describing this, so subscribe to the channel, but this is really the Coca-Cola recipe, because creative is 47% of the reason why somebody buys a product or service, and then the hook makes up 80% of the creative. If you want custom hooks for your agency, then go ahead and click the link below for an implementation call where we can do this for your agency. We can walk you through the kind of hooks that are going to perform for your audience, and we'll go through this entire process with you. You can start creating creatives that scale to produce leads within like $5 to $10, like we've been doing for ourselves as well as our clients. So I'll see you on the next one.